Beat the Champ, presented by Storm, continues from the ABC Gates Bowl. And while we may be in Rochester, it is 3 Buffalo-based bowlers that will try to knock off our returning Buffalo-based champion, Derrick Greene. Mike Zarcone, Sean Dietz, and Jayson Schubbe, one of those 3, will try to end Derrick Greene's 4-week run. Hi, everybody. I'm Paul Peck with Hall of Fame bowler Nawojski. It has been incredible watching Derrick bowl, but he's got 1 win on a roll-off, 1 win on an incredibly improbable 1-pin victory a week ago. Sometimes you need a little luck in this sport, don't you?
That's right. A combination of great bowling and fate makes him feel almost unbeatable.
Right. Well, let's find out. Derrick, come on in here and tell us, do you feel unbeatable now because you've gotten a lot of luck along with skill in these victories?
Definitely. I definitely feel that I can beat my 2 opponents that is going to be up in their lanes, but the victory's already in my hands already.
How have you handled the incredible emotional swings of some of these matches?
Holding it steady and taking 1 shot at a time.
All right, 4 in a row for Derrick Greene. Can he make it 5 in a row? Well, we are about to find out. First match, Mike Zarcone and Sean Dietz is coming your way here on Beat the Champ, presented by Storm, so let's get rolling. Beat the Champ is sponsored by Storm, the Bowlers Company, and by Latina Boulevard Foods, your favorite family in food distribution. Veteran Buffalo bowler Mike Zarcone on the left. He has been a regular appearer on our show here. First time for Sean Dietz here on Beat the Champ, and that is match number 1 to get us started here. It's our 3rd week in Rochester, New York at the ABC Gates Bowl. And man, the first 2 weeks have delivered with some great matches and great finishes. And who knows what's in store for us this week.
We definitely have another combination of right-handers and left-handers that we've seen throughout the last 2 weeks here, and we talked about it being consistent on both sides, and it seems to have played true up to this point.
Mike Zarcone is making his 4th different appearance here on Beat the Champ. He has won 3 matches and lost 1. He is a 2-time weekly champion, going back to the beginning of our run at Transit Lanes. He was our first champion on the return of our show here, winning that first week's show at Transit Lanes.
And Mike's continuing his quest to be a household name in Buffalo.
I think he's pretty darn close, man. He's pretty close. He is one of our favorite guys, partly because we've gotten to know him so well on this show, but anybody that bowls in Buffalo knows who he is, knows what he is, knows he is one of the consummate professionals and true all-time great pros.
Yeah, he was at my place having dinner, and I had the show on TV, and all the people there having dinner thought they were in the midst of a celebrity.
Well, you know, I wouldn't. You're right. You are in the bowling world in Buffalo. He's a celebrity.
First time I saw him smile.
That's keep track of that as we go along here.
No,
how many times we can get Mike to he
restaurant.
Was smiling when everybody thought he was a celebrity.
Right. I go, look, he can smile.
All right, there I saw a little one there. That's our goal, is to get like 5 smiles out of Mike, depending on how long he's with us for the rest of this show. And we kid him. He's a great guy, and he's so much fun to watch. And he knows right now that he's in a good battle with the 30-year-old from Lockport, New York, Sean Dietz.
AKA Wide Sim.
Yeah, in case you're wondering about what's on the back of the bowling shirt there, it is a tribute to former pro bowler from Buffalo, Ryan Simonelli. I guess that's about the best way we can explain it.
Yeah, I guess he's saying
the larger version.
He might be a little wider.
Yes, the bigger version. Ryan Simonelli, a great, outstanding Buffalo-based professional bowler.
I think these bowlers are getting clever. They're giving us hints on the back of their shirts for us to talk about, like recreational bowler.
It's all about material. We all want good material. So Sean Dietz is finding his target very narrow at this point in time, because he's hitting it every time with 3 straight strikes. And if Mike Zarcone didn't know it, he knows he's in a good battle already.
Great shot.
And that's what Mike does. He is 56 years old from Tonawanda, New York. employed by the AP Pest Control Company, but a past champion, Obenauer Masters champion, already a Buffalo-based Hall of Fame bowler. There isn't very much that Mike hasn't achieved and accomplished in a bowling center somewhere in Western New York.
That's right. Mike told me that he had won the Masters, the Buffalo Masters in 2015 and went into the Hall of Fame in 2016.
How about that?
And his wife, Terry, was inducted in the Hall of Fame in 2006. So 10 years apart for those two.
They are the first family of Buffalo bowling, aren't they? And for those of you who might not be familiar, the Obenauer Masters is considered the most prominent and hardest tournament in Buffalo to win. It dates back to the 1970s. It's a grueling, 4-5 day tournament. If you win an Obenauer Masters, you have accomplished something that very few bowlers in Buffalo have done.
That's right. It's definitely a long format tournament with winner's bracket and loser's bracket, so you could bowl an awful lot of games to get to that final match.
All right, so after 3 straight strikes to open up with for Sean Dietz, he leaves himself a picket fence on the left-hand side of the 2-4-7. There you can see them.
Always a challenging spare with the ability to chop, so you have to make sure that you get it between those 2 pins or hit it on the outside and you can slide it like a clothesline.
And he is playing that 2-4 pocket, and Sean will get the 4th frame spare. Sean Dietz has had some nice accomplishments as well. Finished in the top 10 at a PBA regional event, the Fayetteville Open recently. High series of 834 and 9 career 300 games. And you can get a good look at the focus for Sean Deets. And I'm sure Sean has bowled against Mike plenty of times in his life.
Yeah.
And kind of knows what he's in for here.
It looked by his reaction that he wasn't that happy with the shot, but I thought it was one of his smoothest shots that he's thrown so far.
So that's a good front side for Sean Deets. 4 strikes and a spare. Mike is working 3 in a row. And it sounds crazy to say it because we know how good Mike is, but he was the last guy in to the show here today. He was the last qualifier, amongst all the entries, almost 100 entries to qualify for the show here at ABC Gates Bowl, and it's not often that Mike sneaks into anything in this sport.
Well, it's kind of uncanny how much he does make the show. I mean, it's no small accomplishment to beat all the people that you have to beat out and go through 2 different rounds of qualifying to get in.
Yeah, I mean,
yet he manages to get in quite often.
If my math is right, this is our 11th show, and he's been on 4 of them.
So almost a quarter of them.
This is his 4th. That's why we've gotten to know and become such good friends with Mike, because we see him all the time. We don't ever go anywhere where we don't see him.
That right there was an excellent shot.
Yes. So a good start for Mike and a good start for Sean, and let's hope the finish is as good as the start. Back with more Beat the Champ, presented by Storm, right after this.
What is it about bowling that captivates us so much? Mastery of the game is impossible, but perfection is just within reach. Success seems to lie 60 feet ahead, but the real battle takes place 6 inches between your ears. So if no matter how many times you fail, you would still do anything, and I mean anything, just to get 1% better. We know exactly how you feel.
Paul, what are you doing?
Hey, Sue. Hey, didn't you hear? We're bowling on MSG. I've got to practice.
no, Paul, we're not bowling on MSG. We're hosting bowling on MSG.
Oh, thank goodness, because there is no way I was going to be ready. Beat the Champ here on MSG. Soon Nawojski and I will bring you all the action. We'll see you on the lanes.
Paul, were you going to bowl in a suit?
We continue with Beat the Champ presented by Storm here at the ABC Gates Bowl. First match of the day, Mike Zarcone and that gentleman, Sean Deets. All right, I'm the only one on this broadcast here that is not a Hall of Fame bowler. So I want you to answer me a slightly elementary question I'm going to ask you, which is both of these guys, when the ball leaves their hand, it's going about 8 feet down the lanes. That seems unusual to me.
Let's take a look at this, yeah.
So you'll see it from Sean, and then you'll see it from Mike as well, too. You know, it's landing just shy of the arrows there.
That's really far out. I mean, that's a tremendous amount of loft. And that can work for you, against you. I mean, you negate the heads entirely when you do that. So the heads are the front of the lane. And when you're on wood lanes, or that can help you because that's where the dry part of the lane is. But that can work for you and against you because your ball's not getting into a roll until further down the lane. I mean, almost to the arrows, that is a tremendous amount of loft. And you see that when he does miss, he misses in. And when you hold the ball in your hand that long and your hand is rotating, it's going to rotate around the ball and make it go high.
All right, so when Mike comes up after this frame, we're going to compare the way Mike throws it as well to the way Sean does. 225 average for Sean in the 2 leagues that he regularly bowls in.
Yeah, that's also a way to, it's a little more trying to stay consistent when you're throwing it out into the lane like that, because if you don't get it out to that point, it's going to start to pick up in a different spot. So consistency is really important when you do something unorthodox.
Doesn't count. Gutter first, so that's an open in the 7th for Sean Deets. You saw Mike Zarcone always watching, always studying, always analyzing.
Well, what was a 2-pin match, which was a 2-pin lead for Mike, he posted up a strike, so he could have doubled to make it 12, but now with that open, we're looking at getting a pretty good handle on this match.
All right, so let's watch the loft here from Mike. Maybe half as far?
Yeah, he's just over the dots. But he's got that little bit of a shovel release that creates a roll that is excellent for carry.
There you
can
go.
See his hand, how it gets around the ball.
Twists that hand all the time.
But the rotation into the pocket is forward, and it really does help with his carry. Great spare.
And no one makes spares better and more consistently than Mike Zarcone does.
Except for the one that cost him a match, which is what we talk about, making your spares. Cost him the match against George.
Yeah, it was George Schubbe that knocked off Mike Zarcone to prevent a second consecutive win for Zarcone back at Transit Lanes a month or so ago.
Whoa, that was deep.
He kind of stumbled
yeah,
after
you saw
he
that
released,
expression. He got
and he still gets the strike.
Got that way in, but as we talked about, that's where all the oil is. So it didn't go anywhere because he got it way into the oil, crossed over the 4th arrow, that middle big arrow, and it just sat there. Sat up right in the pocket for him. And that's important to maintain his 14-pin lead. Yeah, he knew.
Yes, he did.
That's a nice
and
shot right
that's
there.
just power from Sean Deets.
Well, he's got nothing left to do but strike here because he's down 14 with Mike posting up a strike. So it is amazing how far down the lane he throws it.
That's very unusual, right?
It's really hard to be consistent. That's where the more bowling you do is important. The more practice you have and the more repetitions you get, because keeping that up without repetition would be virtually impossible.
And there you go. That's a double now for Sean Deets in the 8th and 9th
that
frames.
was an important strike.
That keeps him in this match.
Sure does. Look at it from the side. Watch him slide into it. Look how that sails. We don't even see it in the screen.
Yeah, that's almost 8-10 feet down the lane.
Proprietors love it when you throw their ball into the soft spot of the lane.
Our audio guy loves it. It sounds great.
Great recovery right there. Got that 10 out. Come on, Mike, you can smile on that one. A little bit.
Don't get him off his game. Don't do it. All right, so an opportunity here for Mike to win this match here in the 10th frame.
That's one thing about the score being up in front of you. You know exactly what you need.
Mm-hmm.
Love that shot.
There's that strike.
Now, come on. Little smile. I think it was a smirk.
I'm telling you, Mike knows we joke about this with him.
That's his
so
game
he
phase.
is purposefully not smiling.
Mm-hmm.
If there's any bowler that will catch you and I in saying something and come back and ask us or tell us about it later, it's Mike. And that should clinch the win right there for Mike Zarcone. It does clinch the win. So he'll finish out the spare here, post up the winning score for Mike Zarcone, and then maybe we can goad him into a smile.
We'll see. He's got more work to do today.
That is true. So we take a timeout now and get you ready for match number 2. That guy is going to be bowling again against his next opponent, Jayson Schubbe. That is next. Match number 2 is Mike Zarcone against the always colorful Jayson Schubbe. We've had Jayson on the show before, and I did ask Jayson, I said, do you have multiple pairs of orange pants, or are you just good at doing the laundry? And he says, no, just one pair. I make sure to keep them clean.
This
so
is his TV outfit.
It is his TV outfit, because we've seen him. This is the second time we've seen him, and it's the same outfit. It is his signature. Second appearance on Beat the Champ for Jayson Schubbe. We saw him last month at Manor Lanes.
We did. I think we're going to see a lot of similarity between these two. I mean, they're going to be playing the lanes very similar. They're going to be in about the same target area, which can mean that they'll break the shot down a little bit, and it'll cause changes to happen quicker. We'll have to keep an eye on it. The all-important spare.
There you go. Make those spares. Jayson chose to go first so he can finish last at the end. Probably not a bad strategy when you're bowling a guy like Zarcone. You want to know exactly what it is that you need.
Right, and wants to put it in his own hands, which is great.
Yep.
Yeah, he got that just a little bit wide into the dryer boards, and it just hooked back a little strong for him. Might have to move his feet a little bit. Like I said, these guys are going to be playing the lanes really close to similar. And they're going to be wearing out the same sections.
Yep. So spares on the first frame for both Mike and Jayson. Mike now has won 4 of his 5 Beat the Champ matches.
And
7-time Buffalo Bowler of the Year. As we talk
that's
about
something.
all the accolades and all the great things that Mike has done in this sport, that one speaks for itself.
Well, it's a testimony to how much he strikes, because the Bowler of the Year has a lot to do with, high scores, scoring. He bowls a lot of leagues, posts a lot of scores, shoots a lot of 300s, bowls the city tournament, bowls well in it, and that's kind of where they get the criteria to make that judgment on Bowler of the Year. And he does have that nice little trick that really helps him with his carry. So good for him. He's a very high-scoring player.
42-year-old Jayson Schubbe from Lakeview, New York, employed as an IT professional at ECMC, the big hospital in the Buffalo area. 218 average for Jayson Schubbe. Taking a little time off from league bowling this year. Just decided that he wanted to be a part of the show and qualified, as we said, at Manor last month and here at ABC Gates Bowl as well.
And that's quite a testimony for not being well practiced and making 2 TV shows. just not that easy to do. So good for him. He drove all the way out here to a strange center he's not that familiar with. And
All right, so let's break down what we're going to see here today from Jayson Schubbe.
He twists really wide open there. As you'd think he'd be a power player, but he comes through it very straight, very down the lane. Good leverage at the line. See that arm straight out, that left arm straight out? Very good balance.
So to follow up on the point that we talked about earlier, what you see is Jayson getting down a lot lower and not having that big kerplunk that we hear from Mike Zarcone, and we certainly did from Sean Deets.
Yeah, and on the right lane, there's like sometimes you'll hear like a double dribble and a bounce almost, and it's from the boards of the lane because these are really plastic set over the wood. And if there's like a little loose spot when the ball hits it, it'll bounce, and you'll hear Mike's ball bounce in that spot. That's right where he hits. There it was.
A little tap of the 10, but not enough.
Do you see that little bounce
It
there?
bounced, yeah. That was very obvious, and that's just because of where it's hitting on the
he's hitting like a loose board.
boards.
Yeah. If you're setting it short, you'll never see that, but he's like landing right on it.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, when Sean was bowling, he was going right over it, so you never saw that. But
right. Well, I don't know. Let's get our ABC Gates Bowls owners, Kelvin Parker and Russell Vallone, out there with a screwdriver and loosen up that board before Mike really loosens it.
I normally find the loose boards in the front. I set it down short, and when it can double dribble it, drives me nuts.
And again, I'm sure that double bounce takes some of the momentum away.
It absolutely does.
Is that, I think I know the answer to this question, but is that something Mike is aware of, knows
he knows.
and will figure out a way to avoid it?
He said he hopes it bounces in the right place.
Yeah, so now he's got something else to think about, doesn't he?
And I'll tell you what, that is absolutely true, because I know that it's happened to me when you're trying to avoid doing that because you can't stand that everybody can hear it and it bothers you. You spend more time trying to get around it than you do worrying about your shot. So your concentration is in the total wrong place.
So we do want to say that both Mike and Jayson in this match have, by making the show here today, have qualified for our season-ending, look at that, season-ending playoff show, which will be the last show of our season. Any bowler that has made the show throughout the whole course of the year is eligible to qualify for our season-ending playoff show, and then the top 4 bowlers in that qualifying will make that show, and it'll have the highest first-place prize of any of our Beat the Champ shows throughout the course of the year. So we're looking forward to that, something to think about down the road as we move through our season here, that when we come to that very last show, it's going to be the best of the best of the best.
Right.
And it is invitational only, which means you have to make the regular shows to be invited to qualify for that show.
Right,
so,
there will be no qualifier for it. You will have to be invited.
So again, more of a reason that if you feel like you are on the fence as to whether to qualify for any of our shows, maybe that's another one of the motivations and incentives for you.
That's right. That was a tough break there for Jayson. It wasn't a bad enough shot to leave. You'd think you'd leave the 4 or the 10, not both. Definitely a bad break.
So an open frame in the 4th for Jayson Schubbe, but he comes back with a strike in the 5th.
Which is great. I think we're coming into a little bit of a transition time where I'd mentioned that both players are playing the same part of the lane. It's going to force them in. It's going to force them into more oil. And you're going to see, you've already seen Mike playing a little bit with the pocket 7-10. He's hitting really faint into the pocket. So the carry's kind of going away right now while they're in this transitional place of where they started and where they're getting to.
And again, watch the bobble of the 10 pin. Not enough.
It's just it's watch it hit the pocket. It's hitting kind of half pocket. Can't see it on this spot, but it's hitting half pocket, which is what's leaving the 10 pin.
Look on Mike's face says it all.
Just keep making your spares.
You talked about he's had a lot of 300 games. How about 151?
I told you, he's got a nice trick that helps him with carry.
A high 865 series for Mike Zarcone, former Sweet Home High School bowler back in his younger days. And a nice sixth frame strike. It's Zarcone, it's Schubbe. It's a great match so far. Stick around. The conclusion is coming your way next on Beat the Champ.
The Western New York area has long been considered one of the best anywhere for the sport of bowling.
And no matter where you live, we have lanes nearby.
For top competition,
Fun with family and friends.
great food and drink, or just a night out, we got you.
We are
The bowling proprietors.
Of Western New York. Stop in and enjoy our sport today.
12X Tech Bowling Supplies is committed to continuing the decades-long tradition of excellence established by the DeSanto family. We are the ultimate destination for customer service, experience, and product variety. We offer an extensive inventory of balls, bags, shoes, and accessories. Our unique fitting and drilling process, combined with our in-house lane, ensures a perfect fit every time. With a range of repair and maintenance services, we can help keep your gear performing at its best. Consult our team today at 1000 Highland Drive in the J. Scuddy South Plaza, conveniently located off of 390 in Henrietta.
I'm Paul Peck.
And I'm Sue Nawojski. We want to see you out here bowling for the top spot on Beat the Champ.
So get to any of our great host centers and get the details on how you can be a part of the show and be our next winner.
And don't miss any of the action here on MSG every week.
Yeah, so check out the show next week or get out there and qualify and be our Beat the Champ winner. Both guys, Zarcone and Schubbe, working strikes right now as we move to the sixth frame for Jayson Schubbe. Iroquois High School outside of Buffalo is where he bowled on the high school team.
Great shot.
Didn't sound like he liked it, but he liked the result.
It's funny, on that same lane, you don't even hear his ball touch the lane.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch it, because watch where he sets it down, just right over the foul line. If not, it almost looks like he's
Almost like
rolling
it was
over the foul
behind.
line. Yeah. So he's getting nowhere near that bounce spot. So
I was going to say, Jayson finished first 2019 Buffalo City Tournament handicapped grouping, but again, another high-level bowler who's won some big tournaments in his career.
we're really close in this match. That strike brought us to within 2 pins. So they're as good as tied. This is all these shots are big, and again, that was that half pocket. He likes it, but it comes in just a little bit late.
Yeah, well, he liked it.
What am I
going to
do?
End. Right.
The positive thing for him is that same thing is happening to Mike, so nobody's running away with this match.
Well, that was close. He skirted the edge there a little bit. But you get the 7th frame spare. So now to the 7th frame for Zarcone. No opens, 4 spares, which is somewhat un-Zarcone-like, that many spares. So he's struggled to get the strikes.
Again, it's that little bit
Just
of transition, yeah.
Just a 2-pin lead right now for Mike. And once again, he's struggling with the 10-pin.
Yeah, I guarantee you he's trying to look at different ways to enter the pocket, because that half pocket is definitely not going to work. You're going to leave those 10 pins, but it's almost like the condition is dictating how the ball is entering the pocket, because we've got their inside where that oil is very thick. They really just have to grind it out. And sometimes you do have to grind it out. That's where we know making our spares is so important.
Yep.
2-pin match.
Yeah, and I think Mike's talking to himself there a little bit, probably the frustration of exactly what you said. He knows what he needs to do. He's tried different things, just hasn't been able to get any of them to work.
It is, but again, they're both in the same boat. He's got a 2-pin advantage, and he's got to manage this part of the game.
And there's a strike for Mike Zarcone.
Well, what's frustrating him is that the ball is rolling up on the left lane. It is hitting the pocket the right way for him, and he just can't get that same roll up on the right lane. But you don't want to do anything too drastic because you never want to give up the pocket when you have it.
Yeah, it's one of those great intricacies of this sport. Like, you want to adjust, but you can't adjust too much.
Right, especially when you have a lead. I mean, if you're down, if you're behind, that's a different story.
And that 7-pin falls late and gets Jayson a much-needed strike.
Right. Again, the 10 went late, 7 went later. I mean, they're really getting similar entering angle into the pocket on that right lane.
So an opportunity for Jayson to try to take some control of this match in the 9th frame. Well, he had a chance to take the lead with a strike. Instead, a cluster of pins staring back at him. Looks very similar to the way we ended our last week's show.
Yeah, that's because there's so much oil in the middle of the lane, and he chose to keep it in, move a little deeper and keep it in, and the ball never read the lane at all.
All right, so what's the strategy on a spare pickup like this?
Well, he's going to move back to the right and use some of the dry boards to get him there. Should be a fairly routine spare.
Or not.
Or it'll jump. That bucket has been a nightmare for people today.
Yeah, so 3 of the 4 go down.
Well, he found the hook spot.
Yeah, well, it hooked perfectly. It was a little bit maybe too far to the left. So
open the door for Mike.
Yeah, open in a lot of ways in the 9th frame, opening the door for the 9th frame of Mike Zarcone. And Mike seemed a little late to turn as well, but when it finally did, it took them all out.
Again, I'm sure he's been trying a little bit of different angles to try to get this to hit the pocket differently. And he's
like, look how late that break
well, he's
was.
looking for the lighter hit because the half 10 wasn't, the half hit wasn't working. So he needed to come in a little bit lighter and hope for a swisher.
So now to the 10th frame and an opportunity for Mike to build up a lead. Lots of pins spinning, but none of them took out the 7.
That's enough.
But you know what? That is enough. So Mike Zarcone kind of battled his way through this one, right? This wasn't pretty for either guy, but sometimes that's how it works, and sometimes again, doesn't matter what your score is as long as it's one more pin than the other guy.
No.
Ask Derrick Greene
right.
about that, and Derrick Greene now will face Mike Zarcone in our championship match. So Mike Zarcone comes up with the win, even though he only posts a 195.
And I don't think when he missed that spare, he knew that he was winning regardless.
Yeah, the look on his face tells you that I almost feel like he's saying, how did I win this? And it's going to come down to that that spare leave, and the open 1 pin remaining in the 9th is what's going to doom Jayson Schubbe. So Mike Zarcone, 2 in a row here today. Can he make it 3 in a row and end the 4-game winning streak of Derrick Greene? We will find out. Our host center for Beat the Champ, presented by Storm, is ABC Gates Bowl. You can find them online at abcgatesbowl.com. They're just one of our many great host centers, and look at how big and beautiful and nice this place is. If you want details on how to be a part of Beat the Champ, just stop in at any of our host centers and ask, how can I be on the show? We could be seeing you here on the lanes. 48 of them here at the ABC Gates Bowl, and depending on how you want to count it, it's either the first or second largest bowling center between Buffalo and Rochester.
Right, and he keeps it very full and very busy.
And it is, we thank everyone for their hospitality for our This is week 3 of our month-long stay here, and it has been great. And it's been a fun place and a great atmosphere, and we've had great bowling, and a lot of it is because of that guy, Derrick Greene. He has won 2 in a row here, 4 in a row overall. He has yet to lose on Beat the Champ, but this might be his biggest test as he takes on Mike Zarcone.
That's right. He kind of called him out early in the interview when you talked to him prior to the show. He said he knows that he's got the person beat. And I wonder if Mike heard that, if Mike will take that as a challenge.
I'm sure Mike did. I'm sure he did. But and Derrick knows who Mike Zarcone is and knows that he's going he's not the luck that got him that 194-193 win over Nathan Pinney and last week's show isn't going to be how you're going to beat Mike Zarcone.
But it could be by making the wrong ball change. He picked a different ball here to start with, and that ball touched the dry and just went left on him. So unless he moves everything in and he sees something a little different.
Let's see if he can pull off this 3-pin spare, and he does.
And again, we talked about how this is transitioning for Mike. For Mike, he's been bowling on this pair, and you'd think that would be an advantage, but they keep changing on him. Derrick gets to throw. He just gets to practice on the pair before he starts, and this is the only shot that he sees. So now Mike's chosen to go back to the ball that he was using before.
Yeah, maybe that's why Mike decided to change at the beginning.
Oh, he's probably trying to manipulate the difference with his hand as opposed to the ball, and it was a definite over combination here. He got that in, and it took off on him.
Yeah, way high onto the head pin and leaves that big gap between the pins.
We have seen that 3-6 gap before. He's got to hit on the outside of that 3-pin and get it to slide over.
3, 4, 6, 7 split. He'll get 2 of them. So it's a 8-pin open frame in the second for Mike Zarcone. So think about this. This is our 11th show of Beat the Champ. Derrick Greene has won 4 weeks. Mike Zarcone has won 2 weeks. So more than half of our shows have been won by one of these 2 gentlemen.
Yeah, that is pretty wild. In different bowling centers and on different conditions and against different people. They've yet to meet. This is the first time they have met.
Yep.
So it's not because they've favored a certain place. They have overcome obstacles to get here.
Yep, one's a lefty, one's a righty, one's a power bowler, one's a finesse and technical technician bowler. So very interesting contrast in styles here.
It just goes to show you that it's not necessarily how you do it. You just have to do it consistently and repetitively.
Derrick Greene is 34 years old. He is from Buffalo, New York, a 241 average right now. Bowls in a couple of leagues every week. 21 career 300 games and 834 career series. And again, he has been fun to watch on this 4-week run. Of those 4 weeks, one was a roll-off victory. One was a match last week that was all but lost until Nathan Pinney only needed, 6 pins? And
he got 6 pins.
He got
needed
6. He
3
needed,
and he got 2.
Right. So it was a narrow 194-193 unlikely victory for Derrick Greene, who I think in his own mind figured his run was over. And as you watch Derrick, you will know exactly what he's thinking. His emotions are on full display. Strike and 2 spares in the first 3 frames for Derrick Greene. Now Mike Zarcone has to come back off that 8-pin open in the second.
And truthfully, Mike's fishing now. I mean, he finished up questioning the lanes on the last match. He got through it, but he was questioning things, and now he's trying to figure it out on the fly against the guy who's striking.
Did we go back to the ball that he used in the first frame? I think we might have.
I think we did. I think that's the ball that he's chosen to throw on this lane.
And I think that look is there another ball I can use here, because neither of them are working.
Well, it looked to me like he tried to keep that one in as opposed not to get out to the dry so much, but it's still bit up on him. And he is at a serious disadvantage right here.
And that is one of the most unusual things you will ever see, which is back-to-back open frames for Mike Zarcone.
Well, like I said, he's switched balls without any practice, and he's really just guessing right now.
So Mike Zarcone, who came off that win and had to go right into this match. And there is the Mike Zarcone we are used to seeing. That's his first strike.
Yeah, that was his good lane even on the last match. And that one I think he's a little bit more secure on than he is on that right lane.
So Derrick got a chance to practice before this match because he had not bowled all day today as he waited for the winners to come to him. And we'll see if that winds up being a factor here.
Right, which goes to my point that Mike saw the lanes a certain way when he first started bowling on them and chose a ball for how they were then. Now the lanes have changed and he has to try to figure out on the fly where Derrick got to throw balls on the condition the way it is and got to pick a ball for what is here right now. So, but he is the champ, so that is the advantage of being a champ.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes going up the stepladder is an advantage. It all depends on how the lanes are transitioning and changing.
Yeah, for some guys, the sitting around and waiting part is not what they would prefer to be doing.
Exactly.
So another spare work to come here for Derrick Greene in the 5th frame.
Yeah, and it's not like Derrick's running away with it. I mean, he's, not been able to put 2 strikes together as much as he's sitting around the pocket. At any time, these pins are going to start to fall. So Mike's going to have to make his move now. He's going to have to make a good guess on the next shot.
Yes, and the good thing about Derrick is he is excellent at making his spares and not giving his opponent an opening even if he doesn't strike.
Right.
So again, first 5 frames are 3 spares and 2 strikes for Derrick Greene. And like you said, now Mike has to play catch up from the 2 opens, and there's not a lot of margin for error left.
No, I mean, he needs both these strikes to get to 16. Same thing.
Yeah, that ball really died right at the end.
And believe me, he's changing. He is changing something, and it's almost like he's getting the exact same results. And that ball change isn't giving him anything.
How do you fight the frustration when you know what you need to do, you try in different things, and none of them work?
Well, it's kind of when panic starts to set in, when everything you do has the same result, and it's not a good one. I mean, he's down 26, and he had an opportunity there to cut that to 16, and had to go up on that lane that is just giving him fits.
6th frame now for Mike Zarcone. Is there a comeback in it? Well, maybe is the answer there. 6th frame strike. Come on back for the conclusion of our championship match. Should be a good one. Zarcone and Greene beat the champ, presented by Storm.
What is it about bowling that captivates us so much? Mastery of the game is impossible, but perfection is just within reach. Success seems to lie 60 feet ahead, but the real battle takes place 6 inches between your ears. So if no matter how many times you fail, you would still do anything, and I mean anything, just to get 1% better. We know exactly how you feel.
Paul, what are you doing?
Hey, Sue. Hey, didn't you hear? We're bowling on MSG. I've got to practice.
No, Paul, we're not bowling on MSG. We're hosting bowling on MSG.
Oh, thank goodness, because there is no way I was going to be ready. Beat the champ here on MSG. Sue Nawojski and I will bring you all the action. We'll see you on the lanes.
Paul, were you going to bowl in a suit?
Well, while we were gone, Derrick Greene answered that last strike that you saw from Mike Zarcone with 2 of his own in 6 and 7. So now continues back to the point where Mike Zarcone has almost no margin for error, and this time he changed balls again, and at least it's working. He's got 2 in a row.
So now we're at a point where, well, I guess he's been bowling this whole game with 2 different balls on 2 different lanes, which tells us that the lane conditions are very different. That would cause you to do that. But he feels lined up on this lane and finally figured something else out on the right lane. Great shot.
And that is 3 in a row for Mike Zarcone.
That's the Zarcone we know and love.
Yes, it is. And what it does is just continues to put the pressure on Derrick Greene to continue to try to hold him off by making strikes.
I mean, Derrick is up 26. But Mike has that extra strike up. So
there you go. There's the fist pump from Zarcone. Missed the target, missed the pocket, and leaves himself a challenging mini split, I guess.
Good call there, Paul. He missed his target to the left. Based on where he's been playing, that ball went way out to the left.
So how do you make
the way
a
he throws
5-10?
this, he has to hit on the left side of the 5 pin to slide it into the 10. But the way he throws it, he could definitely make this. Oop, off by a bit.
He could miss them both. And again, now, after looking like he was in control, we're tied thanks to the 3 in a row by Mike Zarcone. And again, we've seen Mike bowl enough over the years to know, dude, if you have him down, you better keep him down.
That's good. Well, we know the importance of filling frames. And we know the importance of never giving up.
You know, and another little subtle strategic decision for Derrick Greene was he's going to let Mike finish on the left side lanes, the lanes that he's been much better at.
Right, right.
And that was a decision about whether starting, finishing, where you wanted to be, that kind of stuff.
Right, and again, you don't really know why they make that call. Maybe it's because they like the other lane better. Maybe it's because they want the match in their hands or in somebody else's hands. It's like, but in doing this, he did put Mike on his good lane by making that decision, and not the lane that he has that little bounce on. Huge strike.
And all of a sudden, that red bowling ball has found some luck for Mike Zarcone. That's 4 in a row for Mike.
Now, here's where this decision might come into play. Mike can shut him out by striking out in the 10th frame, and he is on the lane that he likes.
Yep.
So will that decision come back to haunt Derrick? We'll have to find out.
So the lead now belongs to Mike Zarcone, and this left side lane has been much better there.
Oh, that was light.
It turned very late.
Yeah, he sure did. I don't know if he gave it a little bit more room, if he moved a little bit on it.
And I think his reaction will show you how unhappy he is with that. The only thing I could describe that look as kid being forced to eat broccoli.
Big spare hair, though. He had to watch that one because he did miss that spare in the last game in the 10th frame and didn't think thought he had it lined up properly. And missed it to the right.
All right, so fill ball here is a big one, much more than a fill ball right now for Mike Zarcone to post a final score.
Yeah, he wants every pin he could get.
Mike Zarcone, final throw, misses the pocket, and only gets 7 pins.
Wow.
And a 199 is not where Mike wanted to be. He needs a strike here, does Derrick Greene. And this win streak of 4 in a row has been a combination of his brilliance and a whole lot of luck and mistakes by his opponents. And is that going to be the story we write about this chapter?
Well, it was the question going into this. I mean, when you have skill and fate on your side, are you unbeatable?
Strike to win here. So it's a strike to win. Anything less is a loss. It's a strike for Derrick Greene. Hasn't clinched it yet, but he's put himself in position to do it. That was maybe one of the prettiest ones we've seen.
Yep, dead perfect.
Can't wait to see this reaction. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That is clutch. That is clutch, being able to throw that shot.
Good count should be enough. 10 is going to be great count, and that is going to clinch a Derrick Greene victory, his 5th in a row. Let it loose on the last one, and Derrick Greene with a 212 to 199 victory over Mike Zarcone. And look at Derrick Greene. We always can tell what he's thinking and what he's feeling, and then we get to ask him what he's thinking and feeling, and that's what we're going to do next. It is 5 in a row for the Buffalo native, Derrick Greene. We'll talk to him when we return.
The Western New York area has long been considered one of the best anywhere for the sport of bowling.
And no matter where you live, we have lanes nearby.
For top competition,
Fun with family and friends.
Great food and drink, or just a night out, we got you.
We are
The bowling proprietors.
of Western New York.
Stop in and enjoy our sport today.
12X Tech Bowling Supplies is committed to continuing the decades-long tradition of excellence established by the DeSanto family. We are the ultimate destination for customer service, experience, and product variety. We offer an extensive inventory of balls, bags, shoes, and accessories. Our unique fitting and drilling process, combined with our in-house lane, ensures a perfect fit every time. With a range of repair and maintenance services, we can help keep your gear performing at its best. Consult our team today at 1000 Highland Drive in the J. Scuddy South Plaza, conveniently located off of 390 in Henrietta.
I'm Paul Peck.
And I'm Sue Nawojski. We want to see you out here bowling for the top spot on Beat the Champ.
So get to any of our great host centers and get the details on how you can be a part of the show and be our next winner.
And don't miss any of the action here on MSG every week.
Yeah, so check out the show next week or get out there and qualify and be our Beat the Champ winner.
Beat the Champ is sponsored by Storm, the Bowlers Company, and by the Bowling Proprietors Association of Western New York. Stop in and enjoy our sport today. Pushed to the end, forced to make changes and adjustments, a 212-199 win. How much can you take from a tough, hard-fought 5th straight win, Derrick, beating Mike Zarcone like that?
Well, kudos to Mike Zarcone. Me and him teamed up years ago, and I knew he was going to push me to my limits today. Mike bowled a fabulous game. It could have went any other way, but I'm happy that I came up with the win.
All right, it's 5 in a row now. Just in case you're wondering, the record is 19. You feel like there's a few more weeks of you standing here with us left in it?
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
When are we going to make him a co-host?
I don't know. I feel like it's our show already.
Well, it's been his show, and we can't wait to see if it's going to stay his show. We'll see you next week on Beat the Champ, presented by Storm.